Holy cow, this is serious business. A shocking announcement from Coinbase's CEO has shaken the cryptocurrency industry to its core. Never before has Trump increased the pressure so dramatically. To top it all off, XRP was just highlighted on CNBC in a manner that has the potential to shake things up. Today's crypto market, including XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, has a lot of mysteries to solve. However, I do have a little question before we move into the charts and current events. Which cap is more attractive? What do you think? This one or this one? Option A or option B? Leave a remark down below immediately. Since this is the one I began with, I'm going to go with it for the time being, but I would love to hear your opinions. With a radiant grin and positive energy radiating from every direction, I say, fishy, smash that like button. Because this video has the potential to be our most pivotal release of the year. Our goal should be to get 3,000 likes on consolidation triangle that we've been following despite just falling below $118,000. Even when the wick did break out, the candle eventually closed back inside. Therefore, we are still considered to be contained. The stochastic RSI is slowly rising from its low point, indicating a change in momentum. Nevertheless, there is still time until we reach the higher ranges. A lot can happen in the following 2 days that might determine how the quarter plays out. Things start to heat up now. The president is taking a strong stance against the Federal Reserve. A 3% rate cut, he says, would save $360 billion per point, and he wants it done right now. Powell must cut, he says plainly. Market participants will be keeping an eye on Powell's actions tomorrow. Furthermore, such political pressure prior to FOMC meeting is unusual. Even while traveling, Trump has been making similar moves, and not merely online. This goes beyond partisanship. The strategy is to move the market, then in the midst of it all, my phone alerts me to a missile threat. Yeah, charts don't exist in real life. We had to take a brief break, transfer the children to the shelter, and then resume our task immediately. That is the truth of the matter. The future is unpredictable. We are doing well, which is wonderful news. It was intercepted on its way from Yemen. But I'm leaving this in, since I've made it clear before that I will never edit out any of my real-life experiences. We are investing in this world. And now we reach the pivotal moment. President Trump established a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a crypto asset stockpile. According to Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, who just verified the development, give that some thought. The United States government has formally classified Bitcoin as a strategic resource on par with oil, gold, and other commodities. Just 5 years ago, this would never have been considered. Open skepticism emanated from government. They are now claiming that we must hold Bitcoin as a strategic asset. It's more than that. This signal is universal. You can guarantee that the other members of the G20 will soon join in. Every country will act as soon as the United States gives its stamp of approval to this. This policy change is significant. The financial landscape has undergone a tectonic shift. Keep in mind that the XRP bombshell that landed on CNBC just now. Even though Bitcoin is the center of attention here, Teucrium Trading's CEO has gone on record as saying that the introduction of their new leveraged XRP ETF has been their most successful product launch in 16 years. According to ETF Edge, several hundred million in a little over 16 weeks. He characterized the XRP army as a formidable force and claimed the demand is out of this world. Now for the exciting part. A leveraged derivatives ETF is all that this is. Spot XRP ETFs are still not approved. We have a 95% chance of getting approved. The influxes can be enormous once that occurs. This is occurring at a time when XRP is displaying market strength despite the fact that it is now experiencing a decline. Additionally, Ethereum is performing admirably. It did fall below the 3.86 level, but buyers are still getting in. Positive talk about ETHF's potential to tokenize physical assets is only getting stronger. Take eToro as an example. They have recently introduced tokenized US stocks on the Ethereum network. Yes, that is theory. Currently, that is an example of functional adoption. Plus, people are making audacious forecasts. Once again, Bitcoin might reach $200,000 this year, according to Tom Lee. On the basis of posters' prior maneuvers, some are even demanding $350,000 by October. Looking at XRP in the $6 to $8 range isn't completely out of left field, assuming it happens. During bullish times, it correlates directly with Bitcoin's growth curve. What matters is that our world has changed significantly from where it was a year ago. All the stars are aligning for cross-border payment infrastructure, institutional funding, ETF launches, and government adoption. Things are coming together in real time that were once considered to be someday items. The money doesn't necessarily go to the most blatant plays either. Those that get in early with the assets and businesses that will form the backbone of a society tend to reap the most rewards. That's why it's crucial to do your homework, prepare your plays in advance, and not rely on popular culture to dictate trends. It will have increased by 3,000% by that point. Thus, political pressure is rising in the days leading up to the Fed's decision. While the US leads in Bitcoin reserves, XRP breaks ETF records, and Ethereum stealthily expands its tokenization lead. An explosion of price action is imminent in this market. The smart money is currently playing in the areas where we will be breaking down the specific formation of liquidity walls and key purchase zones immediately following this section. My definitive guide to becoming a billionaire investor, find 100x stocks, is attached to the top comment under this video in case you haven't gotten it yet. There are comprehensive documentation, high-quality images, instructional videos, and more, just like the one I use to spot early-stage plays before they explode. When you have this kind of tool at your disposal, you may go from winging it to making calculated investments. Right now is the perfect time to seize it before all the other breakout prospects come crashing down. Keep in mind that by utilizing my Moomoo link below, you can receive free NVDA stocks worth up to $1,000 with a $100 deposit. Getting paid to be in a position is like that. All right, let's return to that immediately. We were going to continue discussing how XRP is taking over ETF inflows, even before the spot ETF came out. It's more than just a bullish indication. There's a sneak peek out there. Keep in mind that leveraged exchange-rated funds are not appropriate for novice investors. The fact that a leveraged XRP ETF has attracted investments totaling hundreds of millions of dollars indicates a significant demand from traders adept in volatility management who are preparing for the future. The spot ETF's arrival will cause a dramatic lowering of the entrance barrier. There is now a regulatory compliant alternative for pension funds, retirement accounts, and traditional asset managers to acquire XRP without dealing with cryptocurrency exchanges directly. Inflows of hundreds of millions, if not billions, are seen there. Additionally, many fail to notice this. XRP's track record of success in the real-world payment space puts it in a special position right now. A future use case is not what we are discussing. We're referring to the banking sector, money transfer services, and other financial organizations that are now utilizing Ripple's technology. Demand might skyrocket if institutional adoption and ETF accessibility were to combine. Let's return to the broader context. Do you recall the comments made by Coinbase's CEO regarding the US strategic Bitcoin reserve that was established by Trump's executive order? It is politically safer for institutions and asset managers to adopt a cryptocurrency after the US government designates it as a strategic asset. Even Bitcoin isn't immune to that change. The floodgates open for other crypto assets with clear conforming use cases like XRP when one of them is legitimized at a national security level. This isn't exclusive to the United States either. Recall my previous statement. Afterwards, the other G20 countries will participate. Picture this. During the next 12 months, even just 5 or 6 of the world's most important economies set up their own strategic crypto reserves. There would be an absurd amount of competition to get supplies. Assets with a high liquidity could spark a bidding war. The math gets fascinating quickly when you consider XRP's limited quantity. Consolidation below $118,000 does not indicate weakness in Bitcoin. Nevertheless, a spring that coils around. Whales are eager to eat up supply from weak hands as massive purchase walls are building just below important psychological levels. If this setup is broken to the upside, the price will race to the next big resistance level in hours, not days. The Ethereum narrative is just as interesting. As tokenized stocks go live on-chain, Ethel solidifies its position as the foundation for tokenized assets in the real world. I'm not exaggerating. Within the next decade, the tokenization industry is expected to be worth several $1 trillion. And Ethereum ETH is now leading the pack in terms of infrastructure. Although Bitcoin and XRP are receiving most of the attention at the moment, you should not overlook the subtle build-up taking place in Ethereum. You're setting your money wisely for the following wave. The derivatives markets are a great place to see smart money at work right now. More and more people are showing an interest in crypto futures, especially on the Bitcoin and Ripple currencies. When market participants are actively constructing positions in anticipation of a big move, as is typically the case during periods of flat price activity, we see high open interest. Short or lengthy squeezes that occur when price breaks out of consolidation can greatly increase the magnitude of the move. There is an interesting finding in the on-chain data as well. Wallet activity from addresses holding 100,000 to 1,000 XRP has grown recently. In the past, big price increases have been anticipated by coordinated build-ups like this mid-tier whale accumulation. This goes beyond retail FOMO. This accumulates in an organized way. Because it's too important to overlook, let's focus once more on the political aspect. To put it plainly, Trump wants the United States to be the crypto economy's leader. This bodes well for institutional clarity, reduced regulatory bottlenecks, and expedited ETF approvals. In addition, Powell is facing pressure to reduce interest rates, creating a macro environment that might lead to a flood of capital into risk assets, particularly in a booming industry like cryptocurrency. The previous big bull cycle was precisely the result of monetary easing, the introduction of exchange-rated funds, ETFs, and the government's acknowledgement of cryptocurrency as a strategic asset. All things considered, the numbers, players, and adoption are now much larger. The major financial media is also beginning to cover the market differently. Crypto is no longer mentioned in the same context as stocks, commodities, and foreign exchange, despite its former status as a niche sector. Since the wealthy watch CNBC, Bloomberg, and Fox Business, this change in narrative is significant. Even fund managers who wouldn't ordinarily deal with cryptocurrency start paying attention when reports of record-breaking XRP ETF inflows surface. For the most part, people will overlook this section. The next wave is about more than just purchasing Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP. Acquiring knowledge of their immediate environment is key. Picks and shovels is usually where you'll find the most profitable opportunities. Businesses that supply this flood of adopters with the necessary infrastructure, security, analytics, and integration solutions. For that reason, I stress the need of keeping an eye on more than just the top 3 coins at all times. Also keep in mind that you should make your plays before anyone else does. That's why I'm preoccupied with positioning rather than chasing. Allow me to reiterate this before we conclude this part and delve further into liquidity maps and secret purchase zones in the following one. In order to become a billionaire investor, you must not pass up the opportunity to obtain my 100x stocks advice. You may find the framework to identify these plays before they execute in the pinned comment below. By the way, if you use my Moomoo link in the description, you can get free NVDA shares worth up to $1,000 with a $100 deposit. Timely positioning is crucial.